Hello, and thank you for watching this regional forecast for the Canadian Prairie. I'm Andrew Pritchard, meteorologist with Nutrien Ag Solutions. Over the next 5 to 7 days, we're going to be watching a fairly volatile temperature pattern here across the Canadian Prairie with a quiet pattern in terms of precipitation. We've got an active upper level pattern across the US and Canada with lots of storm systems tracking through the region. But again, the Canadian Prairie really coming up dry, not really tapping into any of the precipitation from this, not any large scale fashion anyway. But not immune to the impacts here with the temperature fluctuations. So you see a pretty clear picture here with cooler temperatures in the west, warmer in the east, but I would say you don't get much from that. Really, we're going to be looking at a lot of fluctuations here over the next 5 to 7 days with fluctuations of warmer and cooler temperatures across the entire prairie region. And then once again, a drier pattern overall across the prairie in terms of precipitation. Now, as we look at the satellite picture here, waking up on Friday morning, your eyes are drawn into this nor'easter that we saw across the northeastern U.S. here, getting into eastern Canada over the last 24 to 48 hours, delivering some high winds and some heavy precipitation. We've got a tropical disturbance in the Gulf of Mexico. That's going to bring some heavy rain to the southeastern U.S., and then all kinds of energy here, strong upper-level winds punching in across western Canada, and that is going to trigger a series of storm systems across the US and Canada over the next 5 to 7 days. Now, looking underneath those, we are pretty quiet here across the prairie in terms of precipitation as we wake up here on Friday morning. Still melting some of the snowpack here across southern Manitoba. We'll do some quick work there with, again, quiet and warmer conditions for the next couple of days. That should make quick work of the snowpack in that region, and no significant snow accumulations expected in that area over the next few days as well. So likely resetting things, but dealing with maybe some localized flooding here with some of the rivers exceeding some of their flood levels, especially as we get into the northern plains of the U.S. with the Missouri River in that area. Taking a look at the precipitation forecast, then, this will help us pick out the developing storm systems and how they largely miss the Canadian Prairie. So we'll head through the weekend here. An area of low pressure sneaks through parts of Manitoba into Ontario during the day Saturday, with the front extending south from that, delivering some rain all the way as far south as parts of the Corn Belt. Now, this is really going to be primarily an eastern Manitoba situation here, where eastern and maybe northeastern Manitoba are the only ones picking up precipitation from this, with parts of the prairie region of Manitoba likely remaining mostly, if not entirely, dry from this system as it sneaks through. Now, some cooler air on the backside and some upper-level disturbances could deliver some light snow along and north of Highway 16 here as we head through the end of the weekend as well. Likely going to be talking about light snow, though, in that area, less than 15 centimeters. And again, likely north of Highway 16 there, north of the primary prairie region. As we head into Sunday and Monday, though, we're watching for a strong area of low pressure to develop across the Dakotas, which is again going to move east and then northeastward as it intensifies and reaches its peak intensity by Tuesday. So here we go, heading through, this is Monday morning now, waking up early Monday morning, heading into Monday afternoon. And again, with the storm track being something like this from the northern plains into Ontario, really only clipping the far eastern portions of Manitoba here. With this storm system, it'll be moving through here late Monday into Tuesday morning, bringing some rain to eastern Manitoba, and then perhaps enough cold air coming in on the backside here to deliver some light snow to northeastern Manitoba over towards the Manitoba-Ontario border, primarily in this region. We'll look at the probability of snow accumulations here, but again, avoiding the prairie here, but maybe some light snow, 15 centimeters or so accumulating in that area. We'll take this out just a tad further, and I'll let you know we get some big uncertainty when we get beyond this time frame here. The European model wants to develop another clipper-like system and swing it through this region, delivering some snow to the northern portions of the Corn Belt here, but the GFS not having anything to do with that. Instead, it wants to kind of, instead of doing something like this, develop an area low pressure across the Gulf Coast and swing that into the northeast. So once we get beyond Wednesday and Thursday of next week, we already just really lose a lot of confidence in the specifics of the forecast. So I'm going to take it through that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday storm system, perhaps delivering some light snow to this area, keeping the prairie region mostly dry, but we'll look at the temperature fluctuations here in just a moment. The total accumulated precipitation from the GFS model, the operational run here, taking it through Wednesday. Again, notice how the primary prairie region likely remaining all, or I should say mostly, if not entirely dry, with precipitation really sneaking up through the eastern half or the eastern, third of Manitoba. Some precipitation possible here with onshore flow blasting British Columbia, heavy coastal rains and high elevation snows in that area. And then along and north of Highway 16, perhaps some light snow in this region, but again, a fairly quiet week in terms of precipitation across the prairie region, except when we talk about the temperatures. Looking at the probability of 3 inches or more of snow, that would be about 7.5 centimeters of snow again. With this Monday, Tuesday system sneaking through, perhaps picking up around 15 centimeters or less in this region here of northeastern Manitoba into northwestern Ontario, and then some snow possible here in the higher elevations of British Columbia over towards the Alberta border, and then along and north of Highway 16, perhaps picking up trace amounts here to 15 centimeters of snow as well. Now focus in on this region as we just play the temperature forecast out over the next 5 to 7 days, and you're going to see pushes of warmth, seeing pushes of cold air come in here, and then more surges of warmth before we transition to an overall likely cooler pattern heading into the middle and end of the last week of October. We'll take a look at specific high temperatures here in a moment, but the total precip over the next 5 days across Alberta, again, likely missing out on this chunk here of the southern half here along and north of Highway 16, perhaps picking up on some light precipitation, some light snow. South of Highway 16, the primary Prairie region, likely staying mostly, if not entirely, dry. Here's the snowfall forecast match as well. Perhaps, 15 centimeters or less north of Highway 16, and then some snow likely across higher elevations to the west. Your high temperatures for the day on Friday, 10 to 11 degrees in the southern Prairie into the single digits as you head north. Overnight lows dropping below zero across the north central portions of the Prairie, 1 or 2 degrees here across the southern Prairie. As we look at Saturday, high temperatures in the single digits near 10 degrees once again. Saturday night into Sunday morning dropping below zero with some cooler air coming in, and then slightly cooler for the day on Sunday, high temperatures in the upper single digits. Flipping it over to the east, looking at Manitoba and Saskatchewan, again picking up on that precipitation across the eastern half, the eastern third of Manitoba, picking up on that light snow potential here along and north of Highway 16, and then picking up on the drier pattern overall across the primary Prairie region of Saskatchewan and Manitoba. Snow, same thing. Looking at the potential for maybe 15 centimeters or less stacking up in that area. Some trace amounts to 15 centimeters north of Highway 16, but then likely remaining dry, if not mostly dry across the primary Prairie region of Alberta and Saskatchewan. High temperatures for the day today, Friday in the lower to middle teens, dropping into the single digits tonight into Saturday morning. Lower teens for the day on Saturday, overnight lows near zero Sunday morning. And then heading into the day on Sunday, high temperatures in the single digits to near 12 degrees across southern and southeastern Manitoba. As always, Eric Snodgrass will have an in-depth look at the evolution of the next 1 to 2 weeks in our Thursday morning ag forecast video. I'll be back to talk about the Canadian Prairie once again on Monday morning as well. Have a great day and a wonderful weekend.